10, Taylor Swift red flags Travis Kelce should have seen. Number 10, contradictions. Swift has 3 mainstream attachments that contradict her politically conscious narrative that she spent the last few years carefully curating. To start, Swift provided music for the film adaptation of a novel drenched in controversy where the crawdads sing. In short, the controversy stems from Delia Owens' family's involvement in the passing of an unidentified victim. While Delia herself is not a suspect, she is implicated, and she, her then husband, and her then stepson remain wanted in Zambia for questioning. Accordingly, fans were displeased when Swift revealed her involvement in the project. This isn't the only problematic project Swift has involved herself in during 2022. See her role on a project with David Russell, a movie director accused of groping his niece, and it probably won't be Taylor's last project with him either. Furthermore, a recent article accused Swift of astonishingly high private jet usage, and although other sources have since been published stating that these numbers were inflated/incorrect, Swift's failure to personally comment isn't doing her image any favors. Taylor has cemented herself as both an activist and a tight-lipped pop star, depending on which image better suits her situation. I understand Swift's reluctance to speak on issues when she has such influence, but she owes it to her fans to do so. Her platform is massive, and she knows this. Number 9, breaking her silence. In response, some Swifties penned an open letter to the pop star and launched the hashtag #SpeakUpNow campaign on Twitter, demanding accountability from Swift and urging the pop star to break her silence regarding Matt Healy's controversies. It looks like T-Swift has finally had enough of all the drama. In an Instagram post, she addressed the situation and wrote, "I've been listening to your concerns, and I want to make it clear that I do not support or condone any kind of hate or discrimination. My silence was not out of complicity, but rather out of a desire to gather all the facts and handle the situation with care." And just like that, Swifties around the world breathed a collective sigh of relief. But let's be real, it wouldn't be a Taylor Swift statement without some witty lyrics thrown in. Number 8, speaking of Matt Healy's image. Healy provoked major backlash after appearing on the controversial podcast hosted by comedians Adam Friedland and Nick Mullen. The unscripted comedy podcast gained internet fame and notoriety through heavy use of ironic bigotry, echoing the humor of South Park. Fans affectionately refer to the crude, deliberately offensive tone of the podcast as middle school humor, but critics have frequently accused the hosts of crossing the line from irony into outright bigotry, pointing to casual use of slurs and racist accents. Looks like Matt Healy found himself in hot water again, and this time it's not because he wore a dress on stage or made out with his bandmates, although we don't mind either of those things. This time it's because he decided to appear on a podcast hosted by comedians who are known for their use of ironic bigotry. And let's be real, that's not exactly a surprise given the whole middle school humor thing. But it seems like some people just can't take the joke. Who knew discussing controversial topics with comedians could lead to backlash? Looks like Matt needs to brush up on his PR skills if he wants to avoid another social media firestorm. Number 7, more on Taylor's ex, Matt Healy. In stark contrast to Taylor's squeaky clean girl next door image, Matt Healy is something of a messy edgelord who has frequently courted controversy from his provocative stage presence to serious accusations of racism. Healy has spoken out about his admiration for Kaufman-esque performers who create controversial, attention-grabbing stage personas and experiment with blurring of boundaries. In this regard, his antics certainly fit the bill, but sometimes they cross the line into downright offensive behavior. One such instance is when Healy joked about using a homophobic slur on stage at a concert in Dubai. Later, he apologized for his comments and acknowledged that he needed to be more mindful of his words and their impact. You think, Matt? While it may seem like common sense to avoid using offensive language, it's a reminder that even the most well-intentioned entertainers can make mistakes and have room for growth. But beyond his sometimes controversial persona, Healy is also known for his thought-provoking lyrics that delve into issues such as mental health, addiction, and societal expectations. And while some may dismiss them as another boy band, Healy's songwriting skills and vocal performances have earned him critical acclaim. Number 6, Vogue. Taylor Swift opens up about her love of fashion in a Vogue article, but also goes into depth about her plans for the future, including her dreams to star in more movies and just what she has in store for her next album, which, believe it or not, will be about boys. There's just been this earth-shattering, not recent, but absolute crash and burn heartbreak, she explained about the highly anticipated follow-up to 2010's Speak Now, and that will turn out to be what the next album is about. The only way I can feel better about myself, pull myself out of that awful pain of losing someone, is writing songs about it to get some sort of clarity. Number 5, Taylor's relationship red flags. Swift, who says she's currently happily single. I mean, that's not entirely true. Swift has said she's learned some of the major red flags in relationships, which include a guy who falls too fast without actually knowing her. You can't be in love with a Google search, she said. A guy who can't understand why she needs to have security, a guy who needs to put her down, and a guy who needs too much privacy. Is Travis any of the things? What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments. And number 4, opening up. While she's learning more and more about dating, she's still trying to maneuver fame. Right now, she's at the top of her game, but she knows that can change at any time. This is what I've wanted to do my whole life. It never freaks me out, she says, but you know what freaks me out? When is the other shoe gonna drop? I'm so happy right now, so I'm always living in fear. This can't be real, right? This can't really be my life. The stakes are really high if you mess up, if you slack off and don't make a good record, if you make mistakes based on the idea that you are larger than life and you can just coast, she later says. If you start thinking you've got it down, that's when you run into trouble, either by getting complacent or becoming mouthy, and nobody likes that. The article makes mention that Swift has been spending more time in LA looking for the right movie role. Currently, she's rumored to be playing Eponine in the A-list-filled big screen adaptation of Les Miserables. Is this old? I don't know if this is old. Number 3, activism. Regardless of the criticism she faced, it seemed clear to all that Swift was no longer afraid to contribute to political discourse, and that her contributions could be a strong form of allyship. Her activism did largely fade out after the end of the Lover era, at least in regard to combating issues that do not directly affect her. She still speaks out when she herself feels targeted, such as when the Netflix show Ginny and Georgia slut-shamed her, as well as more broadly when women's rights are challenged. She belatedly responded on Twitter to the Supreme Court's overturning of Roe v. Wade. This is an example of her using politics at her convenience rather than to do good in the world in a way that aids people other than herself. This isn't to say she never responds to issues that do not affect her. She does do so, such as when she spoke on the school shooting in Uvalde, Texas, but not at the volume that one would expect from a celebrity-turned-activist. Moreover, no matter what opinions she voices, her actions are working against the people and politics she claims to support. Swift is failing her fans by demonstrating political activism as part of her journey of personal growth, only to abandon it when it is convenient for her. Number 2, politics. Taylor Swift's place in the political sphere is complicated, to say the least. Early in her career, she stayed silent about politics. Swift has said that she acted this way for 2 main reasons. She believed that country music was hostile towards artists who spoke out politically, as was the case with the Dixie Chicks, and she did not feel educated enough to make political statements with the ability to influence millions of people. Although she began to dabble politics in 2018, she stayed silent about politics, inadvertently or intentionally. Her role as not just a pop star also but an activist was cemented by her Lover album, which used political activism as part of its aesthetic. And while I sympathize with Swift's fears of political engagement derailing her career, I believe she owes it to her fans to use her platform to speak on current issues, all the more because of her having curated an aesthetic surrounding activism previously. Lover was characterized by a pastel color palette and portrayed love in a wide array of forms, with tracks discussing anxiety and romantic partnerships, self-love and acceptance, familial love, and most notably, LGBTQ plus pride. While Swift had supported the community in the past, the single You Need to Calm Down was a much more conspicuous showing of support. At the time, You Need to Calm Down was well received, winning awards such as Video of the Year at the 2019 VMAs, but it was not without controversy. While Swift was applauded for taking clear, deliberate action in support of the LGBTQ plus community, others feared You Need to Calm Down and her other activism, such as writing letters to her senator and petitioning, were just a part of a temporary marketing ploy that would be phased out before the release of Swift's next album. Let me know what you guys think about that. And finally, rebrand, number 1. Swift successfully pulled off the second woke rebrand of her career. First was at the start of the 1989 era, where she came out as a feminist. She aligned herself with progressive social causes and campaigned against Republican Senate candidates, then released a documentary to make sure people got it. When she picked fights with bold-faced names, it was in a battle over the rights to her masters, with enemies like former label head Scott Borchetta or Scooter Braun, rich white men who were intersectionally above board. Furthermore, as Max Reed once put it about Allison Roman, Swift lucked out when her original antagonist, Ye, was subsequently reassessed by the ratings agencies of the public unconscious. The culture doesn't always know how to handle a strong woman, but it can get on board with a wronged woman. By the time the pandemic hit, Swift had wrested back control of her image, reclaiming the mantle of righteousness that had eluded her in 2015-2016. But that is all for today. Let me know how long you think Taylor and Travis are gonna last. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more juicy news on your favorite celebrities, and I'll catch you next time on The Rich Life.